Under Sue Bear's direction, Newark conducts a full-scale emergency dress rehearsal every year. Airport emergency plans focus on aircraft emergencies. In the old airport certification manual, current at the time but revised after 9/11, the emergency drill was called Chapter 17. Specifically, the section breaks out the details for emergency response in cases such as aircraft incidents and accidents, bomb incidents including a designated parking area for aircraft suspected of having a bomb on board, structural fires, natural disasters, crowd control and measures to prevent unlawful interference with operations, radiological incidents, medical services, and removal of disabled aircraft. But no place in the manual does it tell you what to do for a day like September 11th, said Sue, and so she responded instinctively. Once I realized we were under attack, I made it clear to the tower, no more planes going out, she said. Until we know where these planes are coming from, that's it. No more departures. Newark Airport is closed. New York's two other major airports, JFK and LaGuardia, followed her lead and shut down also at her suggestion. At 9:17, FAA headquarters in Washington, D.C. gave an official order to close the three New York airports. Sue's action at 9:03 and the complimentary response by her fellow Port Authority managers at JFK and LaGuardia to close may have saved lives. No one knows for sure whether any planes sitting with their engines running on the tarmac at New York's three airports between 9:03, when Sue gave her order, and 9:17, when the FAA acted, carried potential hijackers. But the fact remains that in those 14 minutes, with the plane taking off every 30 seconds, 75 planes at Newark, Kennedy, and LaGuardia had their departures aborted as a result of Sue's command. 75 additional planes that would have been in the air out of New York City that morning never got off the ground. Working from Chapter 17, Sue deployed available resources identified in the plan, improvising as she went along. It was surreal, she said later. I stood in the operations office on the 4th floor in Building 10 with my team, looking out over the flats to our home, the World Trade Center, being attacked. The towers were burning and getting worse, and I kept thinking, how many people do I know in there right now? Hundreds. Hundreds upon hundreds. 26 years I had worked for the Port Authority, 14 of them in the World Trade Center, and now I had to stare across the meadowlands at that terrible sight. I thought of so many friends and colleagues. Everyone in the Port Authority knows everyone. This one married that one, the cousin of another married yet another. We're a family, and yet I couldn't think of that. I had a job to do. We all had a job to do. In order, these were my concerns. First, secure the airside, the area from the terminals to the perimeter gates, including the runways. This is done by securing all terminal gates and doors that lead to the airside, as well as securing perimeter gates that provide access to the airside. Next, get people out of the terminals. Third, I wanted to provide information, though it was not forthcoming to us. I had very little to go on, but I still wanted to pass on what we knew while we tried to comfort people. On top of all this, Sue worried what might happen next. Thoughts kept racing through my mind. Are we, meaning the Port Authority, under attack? Newark is a Port Authority facility. Was that their plan, whoever was doing this? Were they going to start crashing planes into us next? My thought was that I've got thousands of people at this airport at the moment. I had to protect them, and so I gathered my team to deal with it all. Sue had good people. John Jacoby, manager of airport services, had been with her the longest. They had shared offices next to each other in the World Trade Center beginning in the early 90s. John did not have an academic background in aviation operations, but he had the smarts, as Sue said of his talents, including 2 master's degrees. Twice he had spent time in the Peace Corps, both times in Nepal. The Peace Corps taught me how to separate